The train was delayed. A young woman sat between Manchester and London without a working pen. Then an idea arrived. A boy who did not know he was a wizard. A school hidden from ordinary people. A world of spells, rules, houses, ghosts, and danger. The moment sounds magical. But the book did not appear when the train reached the station. The idea arrived in 1990. The first Harry Potter novel was published 7 years later. Between those two moments were grief, relocation, marriage, motherhood, separation, financial pressure, rejection, and thousands of pages of planning. Inspiration took one journey. Writing took years. J.K. Rowling has described the beginning many times. In 1990, she was traveling on a delayed train from Manchester to London when the idea of Harry Potter entered her mind. Not every detail of the series arrived at once, but the central image was powerful. A boy who discovers that he belongs to a hidden magical world and attends a school for witchcraft and wizardry. Rowling did not immediately write the idea down. She has said she spent the journey thinking, allowing characters and possibilities to develop. That detail is important. Modern stories about creativity often treat ideas like lightning. They arrive suddenly, complete, and perfect. But a strong idea is only a door. Someone still has to build the room behind it. Rowling had written stories from childhood. She studied French and classics at university and later worked in several jobs, including office work and teaching. She was not an unknown person who had never written a sentence until one magical train ride. She already loved language, character, and imaginary worlds. After the train journey, she began planning. The future series required more than a single adventure. It needed rules. How did magic work? What did students study? How was the school organized? What did the government of the magical world look like? What history shaped the characters? What would happen across 7 school years? According to her publisher's account, Rowling spent around 5 years planning the 7-book series and wrote many notes in longhand, often on scraps of paper. The planning created the feeling that the world existed beyond the page. Readers might only see one classroom. The writer needed to know what could be behind the next door. Later, in 1990, Rowling's mother died after living with multiple sclerosis. Rowling has said that the loss deeply affected the emotional center of Harry Potter. The series begins with a child whose parents are dead, but the meaning of death in the story changed after Rowling experienced the loss of her own mother. This does not mean that every fictional event is autobiography. It means that imaginary stories absorb real emotion. The magical world contains ghosts, moving portraits, and memories that can speak. Yet death still matters. People cannot simply be restored because the writer wishes it. That tension, a world filled with magic that cannot remove grief, became one of the series' strongest ideas. In the early 1990s, Rowling moved to Portugal to teach English. She continued writing while building a new life. She married and had a daughter. The marriage ended, and Rowling returned to Britain with her young child, settling in Edinburgh near her sister. Popular retellings often compress this period into one dramatic image: a poor single mother writing an entire masterpiece in cafes because she could not afford heat at home. The truth is more complicated. Rowling did write in Edinburgh cafes. She has explained that walking her daughter in a pushchair helped the baby fall asleep, and a cafe then gave her time to write. But no single cafe was the birthplace of Harry Potter. The idea had arrived years earlier. Some writing had already been done elsewhere, and the book was not created in one long burst at one famous table. The cafes were part of the process, not the whole legend. Writing a novel requires long concentration. Caring for a young child breaks time into small pieces. Rowling wrote when she could. She developed scenes, revised chapters, and continued shaping the world. There is a useful lesson here, but it is not the simple command to suffer until success arrives. Hardship does not automatically create great art. Many people experience hardship and are left with less time, less energy, and fewer opportunities. What matters in Rowling's story is that she kept finding a way to return to the manuscript. The work did not need perfect conditions. It needed another page, then another. Finishing a manuscript does not mean that anyone will publish it. The book entered the submission process. It was rejected by multiple publishers. The exact number is often repeated as 12, but the larger fact matters more than the count. Several people in the industry did not see a reason to publish it. Eventually, literary agent Christopher Little represented the manuscript. Bloomsbury agreed to publish Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. A widely repeated part of the story says that the young daughter of Bloomsbury chairman Nigel Newton read the opening chapter and wanted the next one. Children's enthusiasm helped, but publication was still a professional decision involving editors, marketing, cost, and risk. The first British edition appeared in 1997. It was not launched as the guaranteed beginning of a global empire. It was a children's novel entering a crowded market. The book found readers, then more readers. Awards and word of mouth helped it grow. The American edition followed under the title Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. The series became an international phenomenon. Book launches turned into major events. Children waited for midnight releases. Adults read the books too. Films, merchandise, and theme parks followed. The scale of the success made the early story attractive. People wanted to find the exact moment when everything changed. So the train became a symbol. The cafe became a symbol. The rejection letters became a symbol. But symbols simplify. The real transformation occurred through thousands of decisions: writing, planning, revision, editing, publication, book selling, and readers recommending the story to one another. When success becomes enormous, the years before it can disappear. People say the author had one brilliant idea, but ideas are common. Completed works are rare. People say she was discovered, but before discovery came production. People say the train was late, as though the delay itself created the books. The delay created empty time. Rowling used that time to imagine. Then, she returned to the idea after the journey ended. That is the part worth remembering. Inspiration can be accidental. Commitment is repeated. Biographies of living public figures often become battlefields. Admiration encourages people to turn every detail into a miracle. Criticism encourages people to reinterpret every detail as a lie. A useful story avoids both. The train account comes from Rowling and is supported by her publisher's biography. The cafes were real, but exaggerated marketing later treated certain locations as the single birthplace of the series. She experienced financial difficulty, but the most extreme versions of the story sometimes remove support, family context, and the ordinary complexity of life. She faced rejection, but the number should not become more important than the work itself. History becomes stronger when it does not need decoration. The delayed train matters because it represents an opening. For several hours, the ordinary schedule stopped. Inside that delay, a different world began. But the train was not the miracle. The miracle, if we use that word at all, was endurance. The idea survived bereavement. It survived international moves. It survived unstable relationships and financial pressure. It survived the point where an unfinished manuscript is still invisible to everyone except the writer. And then, it survived rejection. A fictional world became real to readers because one person kept treating it as real before anyone else could see it. Return to the carriage. Fields move beyond the glass. The train is late. A boy with glasses appears in the imagination of a passenger who cannot yet know what he will become. No castle rises outside the window. No owl brings a contract. There is only an idea and the long responsibility that follows it. 7 years later, readers open the door. That is why the song connected to this story is called "The Train Was Late." The delay gave the idea room to arrive, but the years afterward gave it a world to live in. Inspiration started the journey. Returning to the page carried it home.